My girlfriend warned me her family was protective. What she didn't know was that I understood every word they said about me in Italian. I sat through an entire dinner with Sophia's family while they insulted me in Italian. I understood every word. Sophia and I had been together for 8 months when she finally suggested Sunday lunch with her family. I spent the entire drive to her parents' house reminding myself to breathe. Fair warning, she said, navigating the narrow street. They're traditional, Papa especially, and they mostly speak Italian at home, so if they seem closed off, just know it's not personal. I nodded. What I didn't tell her was that Italian was the first language I ever spoke. My grandmother, Nonna Carmela, was from a village outside Naples and practically raised me while my parents worked. People look at me, blonde, broad-shouldered, unmistakably American, and assume the heritage stopped somewhere in a previous generation. It was easier not to correct them. The Conti house was loud and warm and full of competing smells from the kitchen. Sophia's mother greeted me with careful English and a measured smile. Her father sized me up from across the room and shook my hand firmly without quite meeting my eyes. Then he turned to Sophia's uncle and said, in rapid Italian, "Let's see how long this one lasts." I smiled at nothing in particular and asked if I could help set the table. For the next 90 minutes, I was furniture. Her uncle, look at him, can't even follow the conversation. Sophia could have done better. Her aunt, passing bread. These American boys, they want Italian women, but they don't want Italian families. He'll run in 3 months. Her father, to her older brother, she met him at work apparently. Typical. She was always too trusting. I kept eating, smiled when Sophia smiled, laughed a half beat after everyone else when jokes flew by in Italian that she dutifully tried to translate while I pretended not to need it. Then her brother said it. She's smart about everything except men. Remember the last one? At least he spoke the language. This one sits there like a lost tourist. Her father nodded slowly. Sophia doesn't think about the future. How do you build a life with someone you can't even really talk to? My jaw tightened. I'd absorbed the insults about my appearance, my manners, my cluelessness, but reducing Sophia to poor judgment in men, I wasn't going to let that sit. Before I could decide what to do, Sophia's 7-year-old nephew crashed through the kitchen doorway crying, holding his wrist. He'd fallen off the back steps. He looked around the table in a panic, and then looked at me because I was closest. "Fa mal," he said. "It hurts." I pulled him toward me and answered in Italian, checked where it hurt, told him to breathe, said we'd get ice on it. His crying slowed. I walked him to the kitchen. When I came back to the table, no one had moved. Her father looked at me the way you look at something you've completely misjudged. "Since when?" he said slowly, in Italian. I sat down and answered him in the same language. "Since birth, more or less. My grandmother was from Napoli. She raised me while my parents worked. I've spoken Italian my whole life." The table was completely still. "Then you heard," her uncle started. "Everything," I said calmly. "I heard that I won't last, that I'm a lost tourist, that Sophia is too trusting and doesn't think about the future." Her grandmother, who hadn't spoken to me once all afternoon, pressed her hand over her mouth. "What hurt most," I continued, "was hearing you suggest that Sophia is somehow less smart because she's with me. She's the most clear-headed person I've ever met. She deserves better than that from the people who are supposed to be in her corner." Silence. I looked at Sophia, whose expression I won't forget. Then I said in Italian that I appreciated the meal, excused myself politely, and left. She called me from the driveway 20 minutes later. Her voice was unsteady. Her father called the next morning. "Come back Sunday," he said. "My mother wants to make ragu, the real kind." Then, after a pause, "Bring your appetite, and your Italian." I did. That afternoon, her grandmother held my face in both hands and spoke to me for an hour about Naples, about a village I'd never seen but somehow already knew.